My name's David. I'm 48 years old, or at least I was before the water came, before everything I thought was solid turned to liquid. I was a good man, I think. At least that's what I told myself every morning while stuck in traffic on the I-10. I worked hard as a sales manager for a company that sold. Honestly, I can barely remember what we sold. It just seemed important at the time. I provided for my family. That was my mantra. I had a beautiful wife, Sarah, and two kids, Leo and Maya. We had a nice 4-bedroom house in a quiet suburb outside Houston, the kind with a perfect lawn that you spend all Saturday mowing. My life had a rhythm, a predictable, comfortable, and soul-crushingly empty rhythm. I spent my evenings watching cable news, yelling at the politicians on the screen as if they could hear me. I spent my weekends worrying about my 401k, about the quarterly reports, and about the argument I'd had with Sarah over the new deck we couldn't really afford. I remember my son, Leo, standing in the doorway with his new baseball glove, asking me to play catch. I waved him off. "Not now, buddy," I said, my eyes glued to my work laptop. "Daddy's closing a big deal." I thought that was what a man was supposed to do, to build a fortress of financial security, even if the fortress had no joy inside. I was wrong. I was so tragically wrong. When the flood hit, it wasn't like in the movies. It was a silent, brown monster that just rose. First, it was the news reports, a distant worry. Then the incessant rain, the smell of wet earth. We put sandbags by the door, a flimsy act of defiance against nature's rage. Then the living room was a river. The evacuation order came too late. A robotic voice on the radio, swallowed by the storm. I got Sarah and the kids onto the roof of my Ford F-150, my symbol of American strength, trying to drive to higher ground. But the truck was just a metal box in the hands of God. The engine stalled. The lights flickered and died. A terrible, crushing wave of dark water and debris slammed into us and flipped us over. I remember the sound of metal screaming, the feeling of icy water filling my lungs, and the last thing I saw was my wife's terrified eyes, a look that will haunt me for whatever life I have left. And then, nothing. The pain was gone. The cold was gone. I was just floating, a silent observer in a world without sound or sensation. I looked down, and I saw it, with a clarity that was terrifying. My body limp and lifeless, trapped in the driver's seat. My truck, a tomb half submerged in a swirling brown sea of shattered homes and lost memories. I saw my wife, clinging to a piece of driftwood, her voice raw, screaming my name into the howling wind. But I couldn't answer. I felt this terrible, hollow grief, but it was distant, like watching a sad movie about someone else's life. A light. It wasn't just a light, it was a feeling of pure, unconditional love that washed over my soul, cleaning away decades of fear, of anger. All the years I'd spent worrying about stock prices and political debates. It felt like coming home after a lifetime of being lost. In the center of that light, a figure stood. He wasn't the man from the paintings in church. He was grander, more real, made of light and love itself. I didn't need to be told who he was. Every part of my being knew. It was Jesus. He didn't speak with a mouth, but his thoughts filled me, gentle and powerful at once. "Peace, my son," he communicated. And for the first time in my adult life, I felt it. True, profound peace. He showed me things, not just my life, but everything. He wanted me to see the great human tragedy, the great cosmic joke we play on ourselves. He pointed, and the scene shifted. I saw a man I recognized instantly, a world-famous movie star. Here he wasn't on a red carpet. He was on his knees, weeping in a voice. He wasn't crying about his Oscars or his mansions. He was crying for the daughter he barely knew, for the school plays he missed because he was always chasing the next block. Then I saw a young woman, a social media influencer with millions of followers. She was beautiful, surrounded by a swirling vortex of glowing hearts and thumbs up icons. But they gave off no warmth. She reached for them, but her hands passed right through. She was starving for a single genuine connection in a universe of empty approval. Then I saw a tech billionaire, a man who shaped the modern world. He was surrounded by all the wealth he'd ever accumulated. But here it was just phantom data, glowing numbers and stock tickers that offered no comfort, no company. He was utterly alone, consumed by the regret of creating a world that connected everyone, but left him with no one to truly love. I saw a powerful politician, a woman whose face was on every news channel. Here there were no parties, no voters, no enemies to defeat. There was only the heavy, crushing weight of the words she'd used to divide people, to sow anger and fear for political gain. The power she held on earth was a poison here, and she was forced to drink it, alone, for eternity. Jesus turned to me, his presence full of a sad, profound love. All of this, he communicated, gesturing to their phantom struggles. All the fame, the wealth, the power, the likes. It is dust in the wind, David. It is a beautifully decorated cage, a distraction I never intended for my children. They built kingdoms of sand on the shores of eternity, and the tide has come in. Then he showed me my own life, not as I remembered it, but as it truly was. I saw the 2190 hours I'd spent in pointless meetings, chasing a corporate title that meant nothing here. I saw the 4,380 hours I'd spent glued to the news, feeding on manufactured anger and fear, while my son Leo sat on the porch steps, tossing his baseball into the air, alone. I saw the exact moment he stopped asking me to. I saw every argument with Sarah over money, every missed family dinner, every single moment I chose my pride or my ambition over them. I wept, a deep, soul-shattering sob, not for my life, but for how I had wasted it. You have seen, Jesus said, his voice a balm on my broken soul. Their time is done, but yours is not. Go back. Tell them the storm they see on their screens is nothing compared to the storm in their souls. Tell them to turn off the noise, to look into the eyes of their loved ones, and to find me there. Tell them the flood is coming for everyone, not of water, but of judgment. The only ark is love. The next thing I knew, I was choking on a plastic tube, a violent, racking cough. The beeping of machines filled my ears, a hellish symphony after the silence of eternity. The light was gone, replaced by the sterile white of a hospital ceiling. Sarah was holding my hand, her face a mask of disbelief and exhausted joy. David, you were gone, she sobbed, her tears falling on my arm. The doctors said, you were gone for 9 minutes. I came back, but the man who went into that water is not the man who came out. The promotion, the 4s on 1K, the arguments on TV, it's all just noise to me now. I sold my big house. I quit my job. I spend every waking moment with my family. I taught Leo how to throw a curveball. I listen to Maya talk about her dreams. I hold Sarah's hand and just listen, because I have seen what lies at the end of the road. I have seen the ultimate audit, where the only currency that matters is the love you gave and the love you received. So I'm asking you, whoever is watching this, what are you building your kingdom on? Is it sand? Look around you tonight. Turn off the television. Put down your phone. Go hug your child. Forgive your spouse. Call your mother, because the flood is coming. And the only thing that will keep you afloat is love.